Hi guys, Naomi here. I'm just off to church to film our kids talk for the week. I haven't been at church for a very long time, but it's okay. We've got our work permits. Imagine that this probably looks a little bit easy driving. It's not. You've got to concentrate really hard. My mum and dad taught me to drive. I'm really glad they did.
Now, learning to drive is quite tricky, and it was actually my dad and my mum who taught me how to drive. Now, I ended up having to sit my driver's test twice, not because I failed or anything like that. It was just that the car that I learned in, their car, was an automatic, which meant that it had a gear stick like this. You don't have to touch it, you don't have to move it. The car decides what gear you need to be in. Well, then I went and bought myself a manual car, which comes with its very own gear stick. That meant that I was suddenly changing the gears myself. The car wasn't doing it. So, had to resit my driving test all over again. Luckily I passed.
Learning to drive is really hard. And I remember when I first started to drive, my very first time I got in a car with my dad, I got the accelerator and the brake mixed up. And I accidentally hit the accelerator when I should have hit the brake, and I hit the gutter and I knocked the whole tyre off the rim. But it was okay because I was just a beginner, I was just learning, and my dad was there and he helped me. And look, I can do it now, I can drive. And I've never ever knocked a tyre off a rim since then.
Now, I remember one time when I was learning how to drive still. We went on a long trip. We had to drive from our house in the country all the way to Melbourne. And it took hours, and I was driving on my learner's permit. And when we got there, I accidentally got all the way there, and I accidentally bumped into a concrete pole in a car park. And my dad was right there. And rather than get really angry at me or really disappointed, he was very gentle and very calm and very forgiving, which is a really good thing because I had to learn to be forgiving too. My son backed into a rock. The other one backed into this light pole.
Driving isn't easy, but we're lucky that we have people to teach us. When you learn to drive, it will probably be your parents. And that's just like parents. They are always there to help us, even when we're grown-ups. They're there to teach us new things until we are able to do them on our own.
Now, this is just one of the ways that parents remind us of God, because He is just like that as well. And He helps us and teaches us, and He's also very calm and patient, and He shows love and shows forgiveness. But there's one really big difference.
God never leaves us to do it on our own. No matter what, He is with us always. And in the Bible, this is something that is told, that He's told His people time and time again. And in Deuteronomy, when Moses was old and frail, he said to the people there that God would not leave them, nor would He forsake them.
And He says something very similar at the end of the book of Matthew. When Jesus is ascending to heaven, He says, "Surely I'm with you always, to the very end of the age." So we can know that Jesus is with us now. So sure, our lives have been turned upside down a little bit. We haven't been able to go to school, and we haven't been able to come here into the building. But we can know that God is still with us and that He will help us see it through.
I suppose we can go home now.
Children and families ministers should always use separate sort of cars because it just makes the car park work so much better.